What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Worldly Church Girl. On today's show, I have an international motivational speaker. He's been living in Japan for the past 24 years. He was an ELS teacher, and now he's a motivational speaker to teach people and businesses how to time manage. It gives me great privilege to introduce Mr. Adrian Shepherd. I saw that you are an ELS teacher. What made you decide to go in that direction?
Well, when I was in my college years, I really didn't know what I wanted to be, like most college students. And I just picked up a part-time job teaching English, and I just really enjoyed it. So after I graduated, I really didn't have much direction at the time, and I figured, well, I'll just come to Japan and just try my luck here for a little while. And next thing I know, it's been 24 years.
Out of all the languages to pick, I mean, I know you're intrigued by the culture, but that's a hard language to learn. I mean, you learned all that in college, or was that like through high school and college?
In high school, I studied Spanish. I'd studied Spanish since I was, 8 years old. And the best word I can use to describe my ability in Spanish was I was useless. I could pass some tests and stuff like that, but I just never really got it. It didn't really click for me. But the difference between Spanish and Japanese for me was simply I had friends that were Japanese people, and I met a few beautiful Japanese women that really inspired me to want to learn the language.
Girls was your motivation?
A little bit, yeah, to start off, yeah. And then I kind of fell in love with the actual language and the kanji itself. But it was tough. I'm not fluent. I'm good, but I stopped a few years ago to focus on other things.
What part of Japan are you living?
Osaka.
And what made you choose that city?
When I was in college, as I said, I thought, okay, I'll go to Japan and just see what it's like. But when I looked at the options, there was only one option that gave me a 6-month stay in Japan. Everything else was a year, and I didn't really want to commit a year in case I didn't really gel with it. So I thought, okay, 6 months, I can hack it out for 6 months. Lo and behold, I really enjoyed it. I had a great homestay family. My first homestay family was not the best. We just didn't see eye to eye on many things. But when I changed homestay families, she was just an amazing lady, and she helped me get accustomed to Japanese life and culture and everything like that. And she could speak English very well, so it was very easy for me. So if I had any questions, I could just ask her.
Now, what is your favorite dish there?
Well, sushi, right? But I have to admit, if you've never been to Japan, you'd probably be surprised at just how good the beef is here. Kobe beef. And
really?
Like that. Just amazing.
Well, they probably don't have like a lot of process and a lot of junk put in their cows like we do here. So that's probably why it tastes so much better.
They also feed the cows, well, Kobe cows anyway. I don't know if you call them Kobe cows, but they're fed beer, and then they're also played Mozart.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh, that's messed up. Their cows are all cultured and ours is all ghetto. Okay. Wow. And what made you go into being a motivational speaker?
Well, I started out, as I said, teaching English, and things were great for a while. Then one day I sat down to do some math because I've always been interested in numbers, and I realized it was going to be a slow road to success. Even though I was saving a decent amount of money each month, it wasn't going to get me to my goal. And so I just started thinking maybe I should look into other options. And then lo and behold, December 26th happened, 2004, when my wife and I were in Thailand, enjoying a well-deserved vacation that year. And we found ourselves, fighting for our lives because the tsunami came ashore and our bungalow just imploded around us. And
oh, wow.
A life-changing moment for me because I thought, Adrian, you've got one life and you've got to do the best you can with it. And teaching English is great, but it's slow. It takes years to master a language, years and years. And I want to have a bigger impact faster. I want to be able to help people live better lives quicker. And I can't do that with English, although I can help them slowly, and I like it. It's just not what I really want to do. I think I've got a lot more in me. And so I started just studying and taking chances with businesses and partnerships and things like that. But all those businesses, I struggled because I didn't have the knowledge and the base to really grow a business successfully.
Hmm.
And so I started looking for answers, and I picked up books such as Rich Dad Poor Dad and Tony Robbins and all these. Tony Robbins, what is it? Awaken the Giant Within. I found that I really drawn to that because I felt that you could change people's lives quickly and easily, almost with just a few simple techniques and ideas. And that really excited me because then I could make a fast impact in people's lives and really help them to achieve more. Lo and behold, I just found that time management was the one thing that really excited me because we all seem to struggle with time, no matter how successful we are or unsuccessful. We all seem to have that one issue hanging over our head is that we're limited with the time that we have. And so my big reason I was asked this the other day, why do I do what I do? And it's because I want to help people to be able to, if they have kids, spend more time with their families. And if they don't, to be able to do what they really want to do, which is maybe travel the world or write a book. And if I can give them tips and strategies and ideas and a different way of looking at things that help them, I can have a almost immediate impact in their lives that can, I don't need to teach them for years. I can just give them a few ideas, send them on their way, and they can actually have, it can change their lives.
And that's how you came up with the OneBite time management system?
Yes, well, I picked up all the programs I can get my hands on, and what I was surprised about is a lot of the programs that were coming out recently were really big investments of time. I laughed because one of the most successful programs was a 3-month investment. And I thought, wow. And I talked to a few people who even picked it up, and nearly nobody had gone through it because they just said they just don't have the time. That the irony, right, is thick, I know. But the point is that I realized that we need something fast and quick to get us started. Later on, we can work on these life-changing programs that we can dedicate 3 months to really take ourselves to the next level. Most people, though, just don't have the time or the bandwidth to be able to handle those things, and they really need something light and easy and that can get them started today and get results tomorrow. And so I thought maybe simplification is the key. And as a teacher, I always realized that the more complicated things got, the more difficult it became to learn. And you had to make things simple for people if they wanted to learn it. And so I thought, why not apply the same thing to time management?
I literally today felt like I have no time. What would be a snippet of what you would tell someone in my position that says, I just don't have time to take care of my family, run a business, and squeeze in a little bit of time for myself?
I think everything begins with education, and so I believe in the concept of turning your car into a mobile classroom, which is an idea talked about by Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn. Essentially, instead of listening to our favorite jam in the car when we're on the way to work, we just turn it into a classroom by picking up programs such as I said, Jim Rohn or Brian Tracy or Tony Robbins, Robert Kiyosaki, or even podcasts like this or other people's, and just start educating yourself, because it's amazing how many ideas you can pick up on your way to work, really. I mean, most Americans spend about 51 minutes a day in their car in a commute. And that's time that's often dead time, where they're not really putting their mind to use. They're just relaxing and enjoying the ride. Whereas if you just take that time and start studying whatever it is, whether it's time management or if it's studying, I don't know, marketing or management, I mean, that's a great way to get an MBA easily and effortlessly, which is the great thing. So that's one thing I would start with. But that's not exactly a strategy per se, but I definitely think it's a great way to help people deal with whatever issue they need to deal with, because you control the dial or your smartphone, whatever. You can choose what you want to listen to, and so that's where I would start.
I agree with that because I'm a huge advocate of Audible books because I feel like I don't have time to actually physically sit and read, but I have plenty of time to listen to a book, like you said, in the car, if I'm doing yard work or just whatever, just cleaning up the house. I'll listen to an Audible book or a podcast in a minute.
Let me add one more thing to that, and that is when we go to university, we take, various subjects. And let's say we're doing an MBA. We're studying business, but we're also studying other things as well, like required subjects that we have to take. Whereas when you're in your car, you have full control over what you're listening to. So you choose the material, and audiobooks are great. So you can pick up stuff like Tim Ferriss's, 4 Hour Work Week, which is a great time management book, or as I said, Rich Dad Poor Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, which is great for anyone who's starting a business. But you can also, what you can do with audiobooks or whatever, is increase it by 20% the speed, and you won't notice a difference. You can actually, if you work a little bit harder, you can increase it by 50%, and it'll still be comfortable. I still think 50% is a little bit more work, and you will miss stuff at first. But I think 20% you will not notice a difference.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. My next book I'm gonna tackle. I love your mantra. There has to be a better way. What triggered that mantra in your life?
That's a good question. I guess it all started back in school. I was always questioning, is this the best way to teach things? I had trouble with, various teachers, and I thought there's no way this is the best way to teach this. And when I would take a different teacher's lesson, I was like, wow, now this is the way it should be taught, because yeah, everybody's getting it. And other teachers, they suck the life out of everything, and it just drags on. And so I guess I've always been curious about how can this be done better. No matter how good we are at something, I think we can always improve. I mean, I'm constantly studying time management, despite being a time management consultant. I just want to learn more. I want to try new ideas, and I do think that unfortunately not everything works for everyone. That's the one thing that a lot of people don't say in their books. They say, this is the way you have to do it, and most of the time they will work, but not for everyone, because each person is unique and their situation is unique. However, some ideas are universal and they will work for everyone. But finding out which ones are really effective for you, though, that's a little bit of trial and error. And yeah, so I think that the best of the best in whatever field are constantly pushing their limits to become better. And so I think we've just scratched the surface on health and neurolinguistic programming. I mean, these are, we've known about good health for years, but I mean, the science is coming behind it now because of the technology, and we're able to look into our brain and really analyze just exactly what it's doing under certain situations. And so, things are going to get better and better, and we should never stop striving for that.
Now, how do you figure out when someone's not really catching on, or a business not really catching on to what you're trying to tell them to use their time better? Do you retweak it, or do you just say this may not be the program for you and lead them in another direction?
That's really tough because everyone is, as I said, unique. I think it really depends, but I like to just tweak at first for most people. And for other people, if I really feel it's not getting them anywhere, I think it's best for them to just go, look elsewhere. I don't have all the answers. I have some. And I admit that sometimes I find some people maybe that we don't gel, and they're not getting my points, or they're not applying the ideas that I'm explaining to them. And so sometimes I think maybe I just should send them on their way, not because I'm not doing my job, but because maybe they'd get value from another person, not myself. I listen to all these personal development experts, and some people love person A and some people love person B. And the point is to keep searching for the people that really resonate with you and give you the information that you need. And maybe that's not me sometimes. That's okay. But I don't want people to give up and give up hope. I just think that maybe they'd be suited with maybe someone who's tougher, or maybe someone who's nicer. Sometimes we don't get along with someone, because of our personalities. I'm pretty intense sometimes. But
you don't sound like it. You sound like you're very low key and laid back and understanding to what a person needs. So I don't feel that.
Well, no, I'm a nice guy, but I want the most for my clients and my family. So I push people. I guess it really depends on how much. I've been a teacher for so long, so I know different people's personalities. Some people need to be pushed, and if they give me full reign to really push them, then I will push them, and I'll be quite tough. So with my son, I'm extremely tough. He's my ultimate challenge, and so far it's been working out well. But yeah, years of teaching has taught me to be a little bit more mellow, and I'm not exactly Tony Robbins or anything like that. I don't go that far, but I am very serious about what I do, and I want people to get value from the time that we spend together. I value my time, and I also value their time. I don't want them to waste their time, and if it's not going the right way, I think it's okay. It's no big deal, but I want to wish people the best, but I don't want them to give up. I want them to keep looking.
If there was something different that you could be doing in your life, what do you think that would be?
I think that we all have our calling in life. I mean, sometimes we just don't find it. There's so many options in the world, and our life takes you down these paths. And the question is, will we find our calling? I think I found mine, and that's, whether it's time management or teaching English. I mean, it comes down to education and helping people be better versions of themselves. The only reason I went from English to time management is simply that the time involved. English was years and time management is days or weeks. And so I think my real calling is education. I found that early on in life. I mean, when I was teaching English full time many years ago, at that time I was applying some of these principles. I just really was helping them to study better. But in many ways, I was teaching, basic time management to them. Yeah, I think we all have that gift within us, but unfortunately, there's just so many things out there, and we just sometimes just don't find our gift, and that's tough.
I do agree with that. We all have a way that we have to go. We're just wired that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be such a better world if we all took the path of helping each other versus bringing down each other.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, the way I see the news today, it seems like a lot of people like to bring people down, and that's not the way it should be. I agree with you. Yeah, if we're all working to help make the world a better place, I think what great things we can accomplish. But it seems right now that, especially in America, they won't listen to the other side, and it's a real shame, because if we come together, we could achieve incredible things. I do believe that.
I do too. It's amazing how different the world has changed within the past. I wouldn't even say 20 years, just the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you could have a theme song every time you walked into a room, what would it be and why?
Theme song. I don't know. It may sound goofy, but I'm a big fan of 22 by Taylor Swift. I just think that song is a great song, and it really pumps me up. And I think we should all be partying like we're 22. I mean, don't forget, life is short, and you want to do things. I mean, when it says party like 22, I mean, I'm not saying go wild and get drunk and just pass out. I'm saying, but we should, use our lives to the fullest. And one thing about young kids is they live their lives to the fullest. And I think when we get older, sometimes we just kind of stop, or just let life takes its toll sometimes. But we should always remember that life is a gift. We should just push ourselves to always be better, and no matter how old we get, to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. And I think when you're 22, you're pretty much like on top of the world, because you're healthy, you're young, you can achieve anything. That unlimited, that life hasn't pulled you down yet for many 22-year-olds, and life is just great. And I think we've got to remember that no matter how life knocks us down, life is good. And it's a great opportunity to achieve incredible things. It's the only opportunity we get, right? So,
because at 22, you have no fear.
Mm-hmm.
You're willing to try anything at least once. But yeah, the drinking and passing out and get drunk part, yeah, they can have that. They can have that part.
That's the real 22-year-old. I mean, kids. I mean, I just love kids. I mean, my son is 11 now, and seeing him grow up has been just the greatest joy in my life. And the great thing about kids is just their unlimited potential. When you talk to adults, it's like they've lost that. They just don't. They can do it. They're, I've got a kid, or I'm 35, and woe is me. And I'm thinking, come on, I mean, always think of what Colonel Sanders achieved after the age of 60. Most millionaires end up, they don't make their millions in their 20s, except now for the digital crowd or whatever. But most millionaires are, 45-year-olds and 50-year-olds. That's when they make their big money. So, yeah. I mean, every experience that you've had is, it pays off over time. But it sometimes you don't see it when you're young, like, oh, this thing is so terrible and so tough. But later on, that could, be your story to success.
Right. I say the takeaway from that is no matter how old you are, just don't stop dreaming.
Absolutely.
Just keep going, keep pushing yourself.
There's a great quote from Kim Kiyosaki in her book, Rich Woman. And basically the essence is this. It says that if somebody asks you, hey, could you spend 3 hours to exercise this week? And most people will say 3 hours. No, I can't spend 3 hours this week. But then if you went and saw a doctor, he told you that if you don't exercise for 3 hours this week, that you'll die. Everybody finds the 3 hours, you see. And that's the thing. We can all find the time, really. But the problem is we're not motivated enough to get our life in order, or we just let life take advantage of us, whereas rather than we take control of life. We can find time for the things that we really need. And so we just got to make things a priority and then go to work on them.
Yeah, my husband said that when we first started dating, he said, if you want something enough, you'll make time for it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
My pleasure.
I done messed up your breakfast time.
No problem. Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't share any tips per se, but
oh no, because that's your moneymaker. Why would you do that?
I'm always happy to ask. I'm always happy to share more tips and stuff. It's just I just share one or two nearly every time. So, but yeah.
Right. Well, I'll have you back, and then you can get another one there. And tell your wife and your son, thanks for letting me steal you for a half hour.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great talking to you.
Great talking to you too. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
And you have a great evening, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I would like to thank Adrian for his time. We had to do some serious time management, y'all, to get this interview together. Him living in Japan and me living here in the States, we had to work that thing out, but we did that. And if you would like to be on Worldly Church Girl, click the link below and shoot me an email and we can see what we can do with that thing. And as always, thanks for listening to your one and only Worldly Church Girl.